At the beginning of the film, we see a woman named Sarp, who has been captured and is being punished for practicing black magic on people. Lemon juice is poured over her wounds, intensifying her pain. Royal Chief Imba sentences Sarp to death for harming many people. Sarp insists that she was only trying to help them, but the furious crowd calls her a liar and a demonic witch. The chief orders her to repent and ask forgiveness from God. Sarp, however, curses them, saying that when suffering and hardship return, they will come running back to her. She reminds them that when they were poor and starving, she was the one who gave them wealth and even blessed the childless with children. She claims that her power does not come from any higher being. The chief then orders her execution. Sarp demands to be set free, threatening to kill everyone like a wild beast if they refuse. But in the end, she is beheaded. The scene cuts to a girl named Aylin. She orders food at a shop, but the price is 8,500 rupees, and she doesn't have enough money. Feeling pity for her, the shopkeeper still gives her the food. On her way back, a thug starts following her. Suddenly, a man appears and begins beating her. He pins her down and demands repayment of her father's debt, threatening to force her into a dark path if she doesn't pay by tonight. Aylin quickly grabs a glass bottle, breaks it, and holds it to his neck. She asks for 3 days to repay the debt. Slightly cutting his throat, she forces him to back off. Before leaving, he gives her 3 days, but warns that if she fails, she will be killed. Aylin returns to her apartment and goes to Ghani to bring back her younger brother, Bagas. Her hand is bleeding, but she tries to hide it. Nearby, another argument is taking place, where a man is trying to escape responsibility by offering a small amount of money for a girl's abortion, leading to a fight. Aylin brings her brother back to her room. Bagas tells her he's hungry, so she gives him the food she bought. Afterward, they play together, imagining traveling to the moon and dreaming under a sky full of stars. Before leaving for work, Aylin asks Bagas to pray for her. Bagas hopes she will return with lots of money so they can live happily together. The scene cuts again, showing Aylin in a deserted place. Suddenly, her dead father appears. He blames her for his death, and her mother's death as well, threatening to make her suffer for the rest of her life. Seeing her father in that horrifying condition, Aylin wakes up screaming in terror. It turns out she was having a nightmare the whole time. Shortly after, she gets ready and heads out for work. When Aylin reaches Ghani's room, she overhears him blaming Fitra for gambling, debt, and getting a girl pregnant. Fitra fires back, saying that the real trouble started when Ghani brought Aylin into all of this. Just then, Aylin knocks on the door, and Fitra opens it. Aylin insists on joining them for the mission, refusing to back down. Ghani tells her to think it through again, but Fitra is convinced he's being set up. Furious, he refuses to take her along under any circumstances. Tension rises over a secret recording. In a burst of anger, Fitra grabs Aylin by the throat and reminds her of the threat she made earlier. Aylin gives them 2 choices. Either they take her along for the robbery, or she goes to the police with the recording. This enrages Fitra even more, and he threatens to kill her. Ghani steps in, trying to calm him down, and warns Aylin not to get involved in something so dangerous. But Aylin confidently says that Ghani's friend Fitra wouldn't dare hurt her. To prove her point, Aylin plays the recording, where Ghani and Fitra are planning the robbery. She then tells Ghani that he's not a bad person, and that's why she's trusting him before stepping out for a moment. Enraged, Fitra storms out of the room. Ghani offers to lend Aylin some money, but she refuses. At that moment, he recalls his late mother's advice, that in life, you must face your biggest problems head-on and never give up. Seeing that same determination in Aylin, Ghani finally agrees to let her join them. Meanwhile, Gia sits in a car, looking through old memories on her phone. A video shows her tripping just before winning a gold medal, failing to finish the race. Now she urgently needs heart surgery. Soon, Fitra joins her in the car, followed by Ghani and Aylin. Ghani introduces Aylin to Gia. Surprised, Gia asks if Aylin is really coming with them. She warns Aylin that Ghani and Fitra are like family to her, and if anything happens to them, she won't spare her. Aylin deletes the recording, proving her intentions, and makes it clear that she only wants money. She has no personal grudge against anyone. Ghani takes responsibility for Aylin's safety, and with that, they all set off together for the robbery. The next day, they arrive in front of the house they had planned to rob, but they're surprised to see a car parked outside. According to their previous information, the house is always empty every Friday. So they try to contact their informant, Dodi, over the phone. Dodi tells them the house should be empty. Maybe the owners left without the car. But suddenly, the call drops due to network issues. Seeing the car, Fitra becomes confused. Ghani wants to call off the mission for now, but Fitra refuses to back down, reminding him of his personal problems and Gia's urgent surgery. Tension rises, and they start blaming each other, leading to an argument. In the middle of the fight, Gia's condition suddenly worsens, which makes both Fitra and Ghani panic. Gia reminds them that they're like brothers, and this isn't the time to fight. Hearing this, they calm down, shake hands, and apologize to each other. They decide to wait until dark before breaking into the house. Meanwhile, Aylin wakes up from a nightmare and screams in fear. Fitra warns her, and she quickly apologizes. It's finally time for the mission. Gia hands Fitra and Gani a radio and a flashlight. Since there's no extra equipment, Aylin is told to stay close to Gani. The plan is simple. Fitra, Gani, and Aline will go inside while Gia stays in the car and keeps watch. The three of them approach the gate, climb over the wall, and enter the property. Fitra tries to open the front door, thinking it's locked, but as soon as Aline touches it, they realize it was never locked at all. They step inside and begin searching the house. Fitra tells Gani and Aline to look for cash and valuables on the ground floor while he heads upstairs. They agree to regroup after 30 minutes. Gani stops in front of her room and explains the rules of stealing Aline. He tells her to only take expensive items in large quantities, so the owners won't notice easily. He also warns her not to get greedy. Then, he hands her a bag and sends her into the room while he goes into another one. Soon, all three of them split up and begin searching for different rooms. Upstairs, Fitra starts stuffing his bag as he finds valuable items. In the other room, Gani finds stacks of cash hidden inside a cupboard. Meanwhile, Ellen opens a drawer and discovers some bangles and rings. Suddenly, the door next to her shuts on its own. Anyway, she's about to head back with just a few pieces, but for some reason, she changes her mind and stuffs all the jewelry into her bag. At the same time, Gani also fills his bag with bundles of cash. But the moment he moves some clothes aside, he sees a severed woman's head lying there. Shocked, he stands up and looks again, but now there's nothing there. Just then, Alan hears her brother's voice. She starts searching for him, calling out his name. Hearing her, Gani comes out too and sees Aylin standing near the basement stairs. When she mentions her brother, Gani tells her that's impossible. He also notices a horrible rotten smell coming from below. Gani doesn't want to go into the basement, but Alan insists, and he finally agrees. Meanwhile, upstairs, Fitra notices something strange in the mirror. Suddenly, the reflection begins to terrify him. It looks like a baby is crawling out of his stomach. But in the very next moment, he realizes it was just an illusion. Down in the basement, Aylin and Gani discover multiple dead bodies. They immediately realize something is seriously wrong here. Suddenly, a girl appears and begs them for help. Gani quickly steps forward to help her and tells Gia over the radio to keep the car ready. The girl reveals that she's being kept here for a sacrifice. Gani tries to untie her, but the ropes suddenly catch fire in a strange way. He calls Aylin for help, and she cuts the ropes on the girl's hands and feet with an axe. As they're about to leave, they notice another person in the shadows waving at them. They call out to Fitra. Now they just want to get out of the house as fast as possible with the girl they rescued. But when they open the door, they realize the exit is blocked. Instead of a way out, there's a strange wall standing right in front of them. Outside, Gia tries to contact Gani over the radio from the gate, but something feels very wrong. But when Alan responds instead of Gani, Gia becomes confused and uneasy. Fitra completely loses his temper and starts smashing things around. He grabs a gas cylinder and causes an explosion, hoping it will help them escape, but it doesn't work. Frustrated, Fitra starts blaming Aline. He says they've robbed many houses before, but he can't understand why they ended up trapped in such a horrifying situation in this one. Fitra checks Alan's bag and finds bangles and a ring inside. He lashes out at her for breaking the rules and stealing. Aline admits she did it out of financial desperation and says she doesn't want to spend her whole life as a thief. Gani steps in and calms them down, saying he'll go look for another way out. But the girl asks Gani to stay with her, so Gani orders Fitra and Aline to search the house together for another escape route. Reluctantly, Fitra agrees. Before leaving, he gives Gani a knife for self-defense. While searching, Aline and Fitra come across a family tree inside the house. There, they notice two women named Sukma Patreka and Siddharasmi Patreka, both having the same birth date. Meanwhile, as the girl seems to whisper something, Gani leans closer to hear her. Suddenly, her eyes turn completely black, and a worm crawls out of her mouth and enters Gani's ear. The girl screams that everyone will die. Gani writhes in pain. Out of nowhere, he starts hallucinating. He sees that all three of his friends have been brutally murdered, their bodies stuffed into sacks with the same worms crawling all over them. Hearing Gani scream, Fitra and Aline rush back to save him. As they're leaving the room, they notice a painting depicting Sarab's death from the beginning of the movie. On the way out, Aline spots her brother Bagas and heads upstairs toward him, while Fitra stays with Gani. But Gani can't see Fitra. Instead, he sees that same strange girl standing in his place. Fitra keeps telling him that he's his friend, but in Gani's vision, the girl is saying she has already killed all his friends, and now it's his turn to die. Terrified, Gani pulls out the knife. Fitra tries to calm him down, telling him to come to his senses and put the knife away. But Gani sees that the girl is slowly walking toward him. When Fitra tries to take the knife from him, Gani, terrified, accidentally stabs Fitra in the hand. The girl then claims that Gani is the one who killed all of her friends and family, while in reality, Fitra had been pretending to be Gani's family member all along. Enraged, Gani grabs the knife and lunges at Fitra. Fitra kicks him back, creating some distance and breaking free. The girl then threatens Gani, saying that no one is getting out of this house alive. Panicked, Fitra runs into another room and locks himself inside. Gani tries to break the door open. The force of the impact knocks Fitra to the ground, and that's when he notices a strange symbol on the ceiling. Suddenly, a worm crawls out of it and enters his mouth. The creature starts moving inside his body. In desperation, Fitra stabs his own stomach trying to kill the worm. But in the process, he cuts a blood vessel. Then, the symbol on the ceiling transforms into a worm and drops onto his face. Meanwhile, Gia tries to contact Fitra over the radio. Fitra claims that he's in the yard, but Gia can't see him anywhere. Suddenly, the girl appears hanging right in front of Gia. Gia punches her, knocking her down. The girl then shows Gia Fitra's radio. Furious, Gia starts punching her repeatedly, until suddenly, the girl's neck twists all the way around. That's when Gia realizes this is no ordinary human. Terrified, she turns and runs, but doesn't get far. She falls to the ground and, overwhelmed with guilt, apologizes for not being able to protect her brothers. On the other side, Aline enters a room filled with mannequins. Suddenly, a worm falls onto her as well. She eventually finds Bagas, who hands her a newspaper reporting a horrific road accident in Tibet. But in the blink of an eye, Bagas disappears. A mannequin appears behind her, followed by the terrifying presence of her dead father. Terrified, Aline runs and hides in another room. But before she can understand what's happening, someone knocks her unconscious. A man brings Gani and Aline together and sprays something on them, trying to force the worms out of their bodies. He claims that he has saved them from a powerful form of black magic, known as median black magic, which drives people insane. He explains that this dark ritual uses worms to create horrifying hallucinations inside a person's mind. The man then asks why they let that mysterious woman escape, and assumes that Gani is the grandson of Amba Sarab. But Gani flat out refuses, and says he doesn't know Amba Sarab at all. The man starts interrogating them, asking if they're learning black magic, and why they came here. Gani admits they weren't there for any demonic ritual. They only broke out of desperation to steal. The man, Europe, calls them fools and warns them that the woman they let go is very dangerous, far more powerful than they can even imagine. A misunderstanding grows between Gani and Europe, and no matter how hard Gani tries, he can't even touch him. Aline steps in, trying to stop them, and asks Europe who he really is. Europe introduces himself as Europe Maheswara, the heir of a royal family. For the past 20 years, he's been hunting down and eliminating black magic practitioners. He says he came to this house to destroy the demonic Parawangan legacy of Basarab. At first, no one believed him. To prove it, Europe uses his spiritual powers to take them back to the past, to Java Island, showing how it all began. In the past, Amba Sarab, also known as Siddharasmi Patreka, was the most powerful shaman of her time. She possessed the ability to create a supernatural entity called a Kodam, or Parawangan, and its name was Vrajit. Sarab had made a dark pact. Any of her descendants born on the exact same date as her and named Sukma would become the vessel through which she and Vrajit could achieve immortality. Urip reveals that the woman they helped escape is actually Sukma, and there's only one way to break this curse, a special blade known as the Keris Charana Petang. Even though Basarab is dead, her spirit still burns with vengeance. Urip then brings them back to the house and explains that he came there to prevent Vrajit's power from transferring to Sukma. In a flashback, it's revealed that Urip slaughtered Sukma's entire family to weaken her. Then, using powerful spells, he binds Sukma's hands and feet, completely restraining her. As Urip starts hammering those spellbound nails all around, Sukma suddenly tries to attack him. The attack weakens Urip and he collapses, losing consciousness right there. Gani and Aline explain that they never meant to ruin Urip's plan. Out of nowhere, Gani remembers Fitra. Desperate, he asks Urip for help in finding his friend. But Urip tells him that before anything else, they must find the Keris Charana Petang sword. The sword was lost 200 years ago, but he can strongly feel its presence here. He explains that the children of Ibamba Sarab built this house for one reason, to find that sword and throw it into the South Sea. Suddenly, Urip warns Aline that Gani's body is turning ice cold and he's on the verge of death. He tells her that if she has anything to say to Gani, she should say it now before it's too late. Gani soon discovers a staircase leading downward. Urip insists that if they want to stop Sukma and save their friends, they must find the sword quickly. They carefully begin to descend, but Europe senses that they might need something special to enter deeper inside. Just then, all three of them suddenly fall down. After landing, Aline claims she has seen this exact place before in her dreams. Hearing this, Europe is left shocked. Meanwhile, Sukma is shown sitting somewhere eating raw chicken. Suddenly, Aline starts behaving strangely. Gani finds it impossible to believe that she could have seen this place in a dream. Moments later, they realize that Aline is no longer with them. Then she reappears in front of them, chanting a mysterious spell. Europe mentions the Kidong Semar mantra, which grants spiritual power to fight misfortune, evil forces, and stay true to the path of truth. But Aline, now in a supernatural trance, begins reciting a dark incantation, one that speaks about human anger, greed, and unseen dark forces. She keeps muttering, come back, over and over again. She then places her hand on the wall, and finally, the Sarana Peteng sword reveals itself. Europe explains that the sword is a symbol of truth, courage, and strength, and that it holds the spirit of Parawangan Garuda within it. But the moment they pull the sword out, a powerful supernatural force blasts them away, throwing them outside and even shattering the wall in front of the door. The impact exposes their location, and now Sukma knows exactly where they are. Sukma arrives and demands the sword. She threatens that if they don't hand it over, she'll kill everyone. Aline quickly takes off her shirt and covers the sword to hide it. Just as Sukma begins chanting a spell, Europe tells them to run. After they escape, Europe starts reciting a powerful counterspell, stopping Sukma from chasing them. Outside the house, they find Jia's dead body. Gani breaks down in tears over her death. Back inside, Sukma attacks Europe and brutally rips his arm off. She declares that his life and death are now in her hands. Then she begins chanting a terrifying black magic spell that summons evil spirits into the dead bodies lying around. One by one, the corpses rise and turn into zombies, heading out to kill Aline and Gani. Seeing the zombies, they try to escape immediately. Gani helps Aline get outside the house boundary and tells her to leave alone, warning that if she stays, she'll die. He tells her there are some savings in his room drawer that she and Bagas can take. Aline refuses to leave, but Gani keeps insisting, reminding her of Bagas and urging her to go back. Gani believes that life is in God's hands, not in the hands of any sorcerer. As the zombies attack him, Gani fights them off and pushes forward. He tells Jia's lifeless body that he won't leave her and Fitra alone because they are his only family. But suddenly Fitra, now a zombie, attacks Gani and tears into his throat. Moments later, the other zombies swarm him and bring him down. Meanwhile, Aline gets into the car. As she starts the engine, Sukma comes by her carrying Europe's severed arm. She begins chanting another cursed spell, and worms start crawling out of the ground and into her mouth. Inside the car, Aline looks at a photo of her three friends and motivates herself not to give up. Then she slams the accelerator, crashes through the gate, and drives straight towards Sukma, pinning her against a tree with the car. After that, Aline steps out of the car and, gripping a knife, starts taking down the remaining zombies one by one. When she tries to stab Fitra as well, Gani calms her down, telling her not to panic or be afraid. But moments later, Gani dies and turns into a zombie himself. Right then, Sukma mocks Aline, calling her weak and taunting her for crying. She claims that death isn't the end, it's actually a new beginning. Sukma threatens to unleash the power of the Amba Serpent's curse. Hearing this, Aline grabs a sword and lunges at her again. Sukma tries to weaken Aline mentally, but in the end, Aline drives the sword straight into her chest. Suddenly, Sukma takes the form of Aline's father and launches a psychological attack. She blames Aline for her parents' death and terrifies her by saying her brother Bagas is dead too. She knocks Aline to the ground and grabs the sword, but she can't hold onto it for long. Aline snatches it back and stabs her in the neck. Sukma reverts to her original form and tries to attack again, but Aline strikes her throat once more. And just as Sukma starts chanting about the serpent's curse again, Aline decapitates her. Cut to black. In the post-credits scene, Bagas is seen searching for Gani outside his room, while Aline tries to get him out of there quickly. But as soon as they come downstairs, the same thug blocks Aline's path again. This time, Aline hands him back his money. After taking it, the thug says her father's loan is cleared, but then makes a disgusting offer. Without hesitation, Aline pulls out the sword and gives him a small cut across the neck. Seeing things spiral out of control, the thug's partners panic and run away, leaving him behind. Just then, Yuri Paker reveals that the sword is no ordinary weapon. It was created for righteous purposes and can't be used freely. He explains that the sword has chosen Aline. He warns her to take great care of it and says that it will grant her spiritual power, but at the cost of a huge sacrifice. Aline accepts the sword. With this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.